All right, well, we're live, and we've had a pretty hilarious beginning. That the universe is trying to censor us, and we're going to be talking about censorship and the beauty of inscribing on Bitcoin. And we're laughing. We said we were going to start with a laugh because we had to. So we're here for another Beyond the Canvas conversations with Gamma. I said it last time, but it's pretty funny when we came up with the name Beyond the Canvas. We thought it was a cool name. We didn't even realize that the acronym was BTC, which is very pertinent as well.
Oh, I didn't even realize that.
I know. I literally laughed about it. I'm like, hold on a second, and we're like, we should have just we should have acted cool and not admitted that we didn't mean it, but we wanted to be transparent. We didn't mean it, but there we go. So yeah, we had to switch apps. We had to wait for power outages. We had to get it. The tech was trying to censor us. It's not even what we're. Well, actually, somewhat. It's relevant too. Empress, I saw your email yesterday. I was like, how coincidental is this, considering what we're going to be speaking about? How are you two anyway? For those people who don't know you, I'm sure everyone knows. I felt like I'm joined by royalty, Empress and Creatress. But
we'll take it. We'll take
yourselves.
We'll take
Absolutely. Welcome. I'm excited for this, and thanks for being here. And lovely to have both of you joining me all the way. I'm in Melbourne and you're all the way in Mexico, and we're globally and digitally connected. So that's cool. We're not getting censored right now. How are you two?
Not right now. I'm good. I mean, besides like the tech issues. Yeah, like you, I mean, just to give for people who don't know me, because some people don't know me. I'm realizing there's billions of people who don't know me.
They should.
They should know me.
Yeah.
I am an artist. I'm a lifelong artist, and I've been in crypto for like 4.5, 5 years as an artist. And I'm also a partner artist ambassador with Gamma. And we are going to talk today about just like censorship and also techno-feminism in general, because it's something that I think is really like we started discussing in DMs, but then also like overall it's something like I've been tackling and dealing with, like being like a woman navigating all of this, like someone who really leans into my feminine identity doing all this. And that like the article that you're alluding to that I released yesterday, that was prompted because Retake TV, who is someone that I stream with, that is a newer mini app on like Farcaster and the base app, they asked me, oh, can you write a post about your experiences live streaming? And it's like, well, it's more complicated than just one post, like one like Twitter thing, like I love Retake, you know what I mean? Because I was essentially telling them like I'm just grateful for them because of all the other stuff that I deal with like my shit being DMCA'd and all of that stuff. So I wrote that long article just about like my experiences live streaming, my intent behind live streaming, why I do what I do, why a lot of what I encounter, like some things, like if I'm not accepted to an exhibition, that isn't inherently censorship, but being accepted to an exhibition and making me change my art, or my art disappearing from the exhibition and various other things, like that's censorship, like baseline. So I deal with that a lot. And I actually was thinking about, just quickly before we move on, before we talk to Creatress, I was thinking about when was the first time I was censored. And it's like there is like instances of like, high school, like definitely me pushing against like what I can and can't say, but it's like as a teenager you don't necessarily have full rights, so to claim censorship is a little bit harder. I definitely, like my 20s, I kind of kept to myself, and I would say the first time I really felt like heavily censored was I actually was interviewed in front of my house in Oakland by Fox News about the homeless encampment right across the street from me. And they ended up just cutting everything that I said while showcasing my neighbor, but only showing his feet claiming that he was scared to talk about how much he, didn't like the homeless people. And it's like, well, yeah, because you don't like you don't care about their human rights, and you're too much of a coward to even put your face on TV about it. But they cut me completely, and me standing for human rights and me standing up for homeless. Like they even said, like, we're like, I don't know, like, this isn't what we wanted. And I'm like, well, why are you here then? Because this is my neighborhood. This is the encampment I live across from, and you're coming in here and saying, like, you want to interview me, and then I don't say what you want, and now you want to cut it. And they're like, and then they left. And then later, when the news actually showed, I was just cut from it. And I was like, well, that's just like, that's censorship. Like, it's like they interviewed me, they heard my side of the story, which was an advocating for human rights side of the story, and they decided to cut that part of the story out. And since then, I feel like it's been more and more experiences with that. And part of the reason I got into crypto as an artist is because, and especially as a woman artist with like that historical context, is because of the censorship resistance overall. Is it perfect? No, obviously, because I've still had issues in Web3 and crypto. But on a fundamental technological level, like my stuff, it's harder to erase my stuff. So that is the long and short of it. And I like to paint women nude. I like nudity. That gets me censored, especially as a woman, which you've talked with Pauline about that. And it's like, there's a whole bunch around that. So, and I'm excited to discuss this more and unpack it today, because like you said in DMs, this is something that's maybe important to talk about and put out there.
100%. Yeah. And awesome to have you here, Creatress. I just want to add a little bit more color. It was funny because, like you said, I DM'd you because I wanted to put a post out and I wanted to highlight partner artists. My dog's barking. Partner artists who are women on Gamma. I'm actually going to mute myself while he's barking. Creatress, maybe you say hello, and then I'll give more color to what we're talking about.
All right. Hey everyone, I'm Creatress. Sarai Mora is my actual name. I'm from Mexico, if you can't tell. I'm also based here. And I'm a multidisciplinary artist. I've tried almost every medium. I've definitely tried every medium that I could get my hands on, not every medium out there. And my work primarily focuses on my identity, which is not just Mexican actually, but also American. I have one parent from the US, one parent from Mexico, and I have lived on both sides of the border. And I was born about 30 minutes from the border, and then I moved 30 minutes to the other side. So my identity is really rooted in two different places. I've gone through assimilating to the United States culture. I didn't speak English until I was about 10 years old. So that also informs my work. A lot of times I will feature Spanish in my artwork as well. And what I'm most known for is for performing live. So I use myself in my artwork. I'm stand up in front of live audiences wearing a VR headset, and I do 3D sculpture live. It's usually improv. I don't go in with a set idea. I just receive the energy and I try to translate it into 3D form. And just by the nature of me standing in front of my art, there's, the documentation includes me. So going back to like the female body and the way that we've been censored, and not just even censored, but critiqued even just for being as we are. I've definitely run into that. And even just the fact that to stand up in front of people knowing that I'm being judged every second is something that also informs my work. But I'm super excited to be here. And hopefully Brett's dog is chilling now.
He is. I appreciate that. And thanks for introducing yourself. And yeah, there's a lot to unpack there as well. And yeah, I was saying, so I messaged Empress and I wanted to highlight, it's wonderful. And, we've got so many partner artists on Gamma who are women. I was like, I want to put a post out highlighting this, but I want to put it out, as a man, and I have a daughter, and I just obviously want to like be the best dad that I can be for my daughter, and not like speak on behalf of women or write things in a way that might be perceived. However, so I was asking Empress for advice because she's an amazing teacher in that way, and we had this great DM, and then I was like, well, we should, long story short, we should do a live stream on it. So that's kind of what prompted it this week. And then she thought that you'd be a wonderful guest. So I'm really excited to have you both here. And then it's funny, like all this stuff has happened, and then Empress has put this email out yesterday, and we were in a group DM with Pauline Fayef, who does nude art as well, recently, because she has a collection going live via Signals with us, and all her posts are getting shadow banned. We've put out some posts, and Nick received one of those sort of like Twitter things saying like something or other about nudity, and like they basically like stopped. I don't know. They essentially like you have to like click to view the post and all. Whereas, which is crazy to me when like there's also some vulgar stuff.
You
that
can
just
search any porn hashtag on Twitter and it doesn't have that warning on it.
Yeah,
but our art does. Like,
well,
sorry.
there you go. Yeah, you
like
guys,
that right there. That right there.
No,
like,
Empress, I'd love for you to elaborate on that. Go for it. You take the mic now, because I've just like it's like slowly. Not that I wasn't aware of it, but it's just becoming more and more into my consciousness. It's almost like we talked about it this week, and then there's been like a handful of examples straight away.
Yeah, like, I mean, I don't know how much more you need to like explain to prove the point that like go on Twitter, search any porn hashtag, and you're going to see a whole bunch of shit pop up. I'm not saying porn is bad, but it doesn't have that warning on it. But then our art, which is very, very, very mild in comparison, but the only difference is it's women talking about the feminine experience. For some reason, that gets like flagged as inappropriate. And that is not saying that our nudity is inappropriate. What's inappropriate is for us to have autonomy over our body. And what is appropriate is for us to just be objectified for male pleasure, which is one aspect of being a woman, but it's not the full fucking feminine experience at all. And so those of us who try to be like, no, we're more than an object, we're multidimensional beings, we're humans, and we're just as smart and aware and in tune with everything, if not more so than some men who run this planet, first of all. It's like, but because we like want our own autonomy, that is what's inappropriate. That's what's being said with that. That is specifically what is being said with that. There's no two ways around it. When that double standard exists, that's what's being said. And then if men can go around shirtless and be applauded for it, and like, oh, you're a fitness like guru, oh look, he's just showing off the hard body that he worked on, that starts getting into like really fucked up shit too, because you have then a double standard. But then also it starts getting into grooming, where it's like men's bodies are okay to be like sexualized and naked, but women's bodies like aren't allowed to have that same autonomy. And like that fundamental thing, like that is a subconscious thing that like so many people hold because it's been programmed into us so much through the media, that it really like that is kind of a core of a lot of like the really fucked up shit that goes on in the world. Because the issue, and I've said this in spaces and I keep saying this, the issue is not adult bodies being sexualized at all. The issue is children's bodies being sexualized. And like as a survivor, that has always been clear to me, that definition. Like that is something I've learned very extensively through therapy and all of it. Children's bodies being sexualized is the issue. And adult women and adult men participating consensually, adult people in general, it doesn't matter your general, anyone participating consensually in like, I want to express my nude form, Like that should be celebrated because that is and should be protected under freedom of speech for anyone. And so that's why, like, I don't necessarily want more restrictions on the porn. I just don't want this double standard to exist anymore, personally. And I know most people who, like, most women who make art feel the same way. And whether or not they can express it directly because they feel safe to or not, that's a different story. I just don't give a fuck anymore. That's why I'm loud about it. And that's why I keep doing things about it. And that's why I keep surrounding myself with other women who work on this type of stuff, like Creatress. And Pauline.
Thank you, Empress. I couldn't agree more. I mean, it really just comes down to a double standard that has been, like you said, cemented through the ages. I think not just in media, but I think if we really, and I don't even know if I should go here, but like if we think about it, like patriarchy was kind of established in part by the religious institutions. I'll say that to keep it broad. And so we still have, like you said, men at the helm of most companies, including media. So, you know, we're live streaming on Twitter right now, of course, that's owned by a man who I don't really know if he really cares about the double standard that's being kind of implemented here, to be honest. But I wish I had, you know, solutions for this, because I think we can all agree it's complete just BS that we can't explain. How can you have nudes in museums and all these institutions, but women artists can't just promote even their art that includes the female form on social media, which is not even a religious place. It's supposed to be free speech, right? So I don't know. I welcome any suggestions from anyone who may be listening on how can we fix this?
Well, it's not necessarily a fix, but I think what's important, I think it sort of like circles back to, is that you can inscribe on Bitcoin and that can't be censored. You can write your story. I know, Empress, you've written some powerful words on Bitcoin already, and I'd like, you know, you might be planning to do more. I've always considered it. I haven't done it yet, but I you know, truly consider it. And I think that that's fascinating. So like, because no one owns that Bitcoin, no one owns, it's like this kind of like the, you know, the world, you know, the nodes, like Bitcoin's this consensus. No one can censor what you inscribe. That's quite fascinating. And like I said to you, I wanted to highlight the women who are inscribing on Bitcoin because it is so powerful. And then we sort of realize that there is this aspect to it. So yeah, feel free to, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, the huge important part, I don't know, I think the dogs are okay. The huge important part with this in context. So I was like really like, I mean, I've been in ordinals a while, and I know fundamentally like it's uncensorable. There is like the issue with pruning that has come up, but it's like as long as there's archival nodes, like which there should be in persistence archival nodes, like because it would take a whole fundamental fork of Bitcoin for archival nodes to be like changed. Like ordinals will keep persisting, and it's like for people who are really like they don't trust that, even like stamps can't be pruned and stuff like that. So there's layers to like the data and how it can be handled. So I just want to like make that super clear of like, you know, how that technology works for anyone listening who may not be familiar. Essentially, ordinals are immutable, but it also, they live in a space in the blockchain data where it can be like, some people are like, that's not immutable enough for me. For me personally, I have trust in the network. So I find that immutability personally, like, I think it's fine. I am gonna like look at putting some stamps and stuff, especially for text. Like I think text is such a low like data thing, and on the things that are like super non-immutable, it's such a great thing to put on there, especially when as a woman. So this is the point I'm trying to get at. For centuries, we've been erased from the art world. And that's part of my article, is pointing out that even in the Renaissance, there were women painters, but their paintings were attributed to their male counterparts, or just like not even recognized like as like a good painting, even though they were. And that, like, that's just one blip of the erasure. Like when you have a systemic erasure over hundreds, if not thousands of years of women artists, like one blip represents like the tip of the iceberg. And like how many women artists have there been through history that we just don't know about, that got erased for whatever reason, or attributed, their works attributed to someone else? That's the more common. If they're really good, it gets taken and attributed. So like blockchain provenance and Bitcoin is like so important in all of this, because the immutability means that it can't, that information can't be twisted. It's like, maybe history will forget about me. Maybe like, you know, other people will be more prominent, whatever. I can't control what happens after what I do, but I do know that like I can't, like, if the more I entwine myself with these systems, the harder it is to delete me. And that's the game I'm playing. So people think like, oh no, you need to like play these market dynamics and stuff like that. And I keep saying I'm playing a legacy game. And that legacy game is making sure as a woman, I'm not erased in history. That's the game. And crypto is a huge important part of this game for me. And that's why I mint so much. That's why I try to get my art in as many wallets as possible. That's why I'm on all these different blockchains. That's why I'm a cross-chain maxi. Because the more I put out there and the more I'm in their systems, the less easier it is to erase me. And like, so yeah, it may tank my market temporarily, and people may view it as I'm oversaturating things, but I don't give a fuck, because I don't care about their opinion. I care about, in 100, 200 years, little girls know that fucking a woman existed at this point making art in this context. That's what I care about.
Do you know?
And
oh, sorry, I had this fucking.
no, it's okay.
I was like, yeah.
She needs a mic so she can drop it.
Oh my gosh. I gotta say, Empress, I love that that's your reason for minting and getting in as many walls. I hadn't heard you say that, and I always wondered, and I never asked. So, it doesn't matter. Every artist has
I thought it was
I
thought it was obvious.
No,
But people aren't playing the game. I guess people aren't.
Yeah.
They don't see the world how I see it. People aren't playing, like, because most people in this space are men. They don't have to worry about erasure, fundamentally. Exactly. Even if women come into more power, the likelihood of us erasing them from history is very little. Women in general, like, that's not how we operate. Like, we honor like all. Like, I'm an intersectional feminist, first of all, so I honor all people, and like I think feminism can help all people. I don't like using feminism to other men. I don't like using feminism in ways to like hurt, like to like dehumanize other people. That's not the intent of feminism. That's never been the intent of it. It's the intent of it is to empower the femininity in culture, to stand on an equal footing with the masculinity in culture, so we don't have these toxic imbalances that we are seeing as they play out. How horrible it is for a lot of people when it is imbalanced like it is. And all most women are asking is for this, like, and even not this, and not having like a million gates to walk through to get to this, because we already have a million things we have to deal with, and then putting more in the way, it's just like, fuck you. I'll go do other things. I don't know. Like, I'll go build other places that see this and understand like the historical context and also the immediate context of it all. So yeah,
it's a great point. Do you know, it's funny whether or not this is even why my daughter asks it, but and I've told you that she loves a couple of the pieces that I own of yours, Empress, but like I'll show her a piece of art and she'll always ask, is it is it by a girl? Like, she always likes to know that. And I think it's very special because, like you said, you want little girls in the future to, you know, to know that there are women who create art, and that's inspiring for them. And it is inspiring for my daughter. So it's like, it's not even like in the future, it's right now as well.
It is. Like
Wow.
Zonamaco in here in Mexico City, like not this year, but the year before, my art was on huge display. And I saw a little girl just standing there, like in awe. And I started crying because I was like, oh shit, like it's happening right now, you know? And it even makes me tear up now thinking about it because that's why I do it. And I've said it before. I mean, it's just, that's why I do it.
I love
I'm gonna
that.
cry.
Cry, Empress, if you want to. Don't be
Thanks.
shy. I think that reminds me of if we talk about like art history a little bit, like obviously the first woman that comes to mind is Artemisia Gentileschi. Hopefully I said her name right. Because I think at the beginning a lot of her work was attributed to her dad because he was a painter. And we couldn't even go to art school at that point as women. So I think just like circling back to like the little girls seeing art by women and being inspired by them. I mean, it's just, I mean, we couldn't even go to art school before, and then our art was being attributed to our dads or our husbands. I mean, there was the Big Eyes painter as well, who her husband just like stole her work as his own. Keen. It's just like, I don't know, it's mind-boggling. And I feel like that was only even possible like for her husband to pass off her work because of this like idea that women can't be artists, or like the fact that we've been repressed so long. So people didn't even think that this woman was actually painting the paintings because like women can't paint that well, right? Is like the idea that has been kind of like permeated in history. Like, no, and oh my God, I'm really excited for the future where it's not even something you have to talk about anymore. But I think it's going to take, like, I think what it might take is turning almost everyone into an intersectional feminist, including the men, for everybody to just value everybody, honestly. And then maybe we'll have like an equal-ish art market. I don't know.
Has it improved at all? I like, genuine question. I don't know. Has it? Like, Empress, in your experience?
I mean, it's yes and no. Like, I mean, people see me and they're like, yes, you've exhibited a billion places, like you've had success. And like that in and of itself is proof that like crypto, there is a strong point in crypto where like my voice, like people who advocate for my voice and other people's voices like mine. So like I don't want to dismiss those people because, and by saying like it's not getting better, because there are people out there actively working to try to make it better. And it starts with working on yourself, and then it starts working on like your social groups and like the people around you, and just like really like taking time to reflect on like how you navigate the world, and some self accountability and self reflection, which it seems a lot to ask of some people. I mean, blatantly, that's a lot to ask of some people. But the people who do go do that are worth like so much to artists like us. And so have gotten heat for being a bitch, and I don't really care at this point anymore. Like I'm the only one looking out for myself at the end of the day, and I'm consistently going to demand higher expectations of the people around me to meet. Like, I understand it's a process, but at the same time, like, I'm trying to advance myself at the same time as an individual. And when I start feeling held back by the collective, when I'm out in this crazy like brain space exploring like the intersection of quantum physics with AI and identity and like occultism, and it's like I'm out here doing heady shit, and then I get some bigoted bullshit I have to deal with, or just small-minded shit I have to deal with. It pisses me off because it's like yanking me out of like this like great headspace I'm in, like trying to conceptualize good things for the future. And then it's like, well, wait, I still have to deal with the reality of that I'm not even valued as a human by most people, even though I'm like out here trying to help humanity with my work. I'm literally trying to help the people that are hurting me. Like that's the thing, like because all the work that a lot of us do, like in the end, is trying to help everyone. And like, so to say it's getting better, yes, it's getting better. The fact that I'm even here talking, it's getting better. But there are certain contingencies of people that I just don't think it ever will get better. I just don't think they want it to. I just don't think they see women as humans. And I don't know how to make someone see another person as a human. I really don't. Like, you can't force people to think one way or another. That's another form of fascism that I don't want to lean into. But what I can do is keep creating my work, keep being who I am, keep hanging out with the people who understand it, like Creatress, keep working with companies that get it, like Gamma, and like other companies that I'm going to be working with. And it's like, and that's how it gets better. And then hopefully people, like, it just slowly, the world shifts, the pendulum swings back to like maybe a more inclusive, good, nice society, instead of one where the president is talking about slavery again of the United
Yeah,
States.
that that reminds me, I was going to mention something because we're talking about censorship and museums and art collections, and just this week, there was a statement put out by the United States president talking about how the Smithsonian and many nationally funded museums are going to be they're going to be edited, essentially. They're going to be, for lack of another word, censored. And I think, just going back to Bitcoin for a second, I'm like, do we need to start inscribing like every historical artwork or like politically charged artwork or article, book? Like, do we need to start inscribing books and even things that are in national museums to make sure that our history isn't completely changed by who's in charge? And who's in charge right now definitely does not see women as humans, as people, or equal, right? As to men. We know this. The U.S. president thinks that men are and should be in charge by all means. So what do we do? Are we even like, can we inscribe a book? Is that legal actually? But like for someone to inscribe a book who's not the author, I guess that's my question, because I'm like, we need to start doing it.
If it's in public domain, it's totally chill. But then if I could see it as potentially, if institutions, because institutions I used to work for the University of Iowa in their archives, and I specifically was digitizing their archives. And that a lot of institutions have already gone through the digitization phase. And I think it's imperative that a lot of institutions start considering archiving that backed up with crypto somehow. What crypto they should use, like, that's a them to decide. Like, Bitcoin has its promise, its benefits. Ethereum has different benefits. I mean, even institutions could create their own blockchains to put like data on, to store this information. Like, they could create like an archival blockchain where it's not even about transacting. It's just about archiving all this stuff. So then that takes out any question of like, it's just an online library, which I'm pretty sure there are projects around that. It's just like everything being developed in crypto in general, like across everything, is so massive right now. It's hard for even one person to keep up with it. But I mean, you're right. And like, should institutions be doing this? Yes, they should. Like 100%, they should be backing up their digital archives on the blockchain somehow. They need to figure that out for themselves. It's like my thing.
Oh my God, this just feels like, it kind of feels like it's giving book burning. It's giving,
Yeah.
Someone has to go like scoop up these artworks before they just get like pulled out and thrown in the trash by like.
That's the descent into fascism. I mean, like the artists and intellectuals leaving the country, which happened a couple of years ago. That's the first sign. And then starting to attack like institutions holding narratives, historical narratives. That's the natural next progression. Like I'm not even I'm not trying to be like this is okay. It's just I know, like I've studied this enough. I know the patterns of what's happening, and everyone who studied this knows the patterns of what's happening. And that's why a lot of us feel like we're screaming into nothingness, because we're just like, this shit is happening right now. And it's like, how are we going to stop this? How are we going to use technology to make sure we can preserve this stuff instead of using technology to oppress more? Because that seems to be the agenda of some people. And it's like, but I know there's a strong agenda of people out there who want the opposite, who want an open internet, who want free exchange of ideas, who want human rights for everyone, who recognizes the Declaration of Universal Human Rights. And every day people are working towards that. And it's really easy when you have these shitheads saying whatever about whatever, trying to bring back some of the worst bullshit in human history. It's easy to just think that's what it's going to be. And that's kind of what they want. They want you to just kind of give up and just be like, well, it doesn't matter. The president is saying this now. Or they want to rage you into like wasting energy into fighting them instead of building for something better. So it's like, again, like I pointed that out just like because it's like it's the environment that we live in. It's hostile. It's hostile to be a woman in this world right now, and it's hostile to be a woman for centuries. That's the thing, and that's the one thing I really wanted to make clear in this whole thing is out of every identity group in history, women have been oppressed the longest. Women have been denied rights by the governments and the institutions that humanity has been operating within longer than any other group, religious or otherwise. And so when I say women's rights are human rights, that's what I'm talking about. Because until we are on the same level, like any human can have their rights taken away then. If our rights can be taken away, your rights can be taken away. That's just the baseline. And because if you don't recognize the universality of it, that is a weakness in it as all. And women artists specifically, we're like the cornerstone of it all, because freedom of speech is the cornerstone of a free society. Not necessarily democracy, just a free society, like freedom of speech is. And so women artists who are exercising their freedom of speech are some of the biggest holders up of that cornerstone. And yet we're the ones being punched at the most. We're the ones being censored the most. We're the ones not being supported the most. And so it's like we're sitting here trying to hold up fucking civilized society and like at the same time being battered by people who just don't give a fuck. And I don't know. I like to think civility will win in the end. And I like to think like a free society will win in the end. But also like I've been dealing with this my whole life, and it's like I've seen it get better and then I've seen it get worse and then I've seen it get better. And it's just a mess. And it's like a mess that we have to constantly keep navigating through to get to the future. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know, you so many great points. Like it's hard to follow up when Empress speaks like that. And I say that with full respect. No, it's impressive. Like it's this is why, another reason why I wanted to do this, because it's just so important to hear it from people like you and Creatress who can speak so adeptly to it. Yeah, it reminded me of a few things, like my heritage. So my heritage is Jewish, and so there was like the book burning during the Holocaust when they were trying to like censor like the Jews, obviously, and kill the Jews there. So, and then I, so again, it's about like the ability to sort of like preserve your legacy, like you said, and obviously that's just in a different context. Like erasure of things is how people try and like kill cultures. It's kind of like different languages try, erasing language is a really big way to try and kill a culture. And as well, like we're seeing there's so many examples of it, so it's so interesting. And that's why I would, like you said, I can't see the witness data getting pruned. Like even if like 100 nodes decided to prune, or 1,000, there's thousands of others, but I feel you, there's different levels in it. But it's certainly a pertinent thing to bring up. But yeah, I think it's just, that's why it's so powerful to be able to preserve this data, like you said. And women who are doing it, like you said, you're on the forefront. No wonder it's the worst, because that the people on the forefront are always the ones who are like who get kicked, because they're kind of the ones leading the charge, so to speak. And it also reminded me, just thoughts that came up while you were speaking. It reminded me, there's this incredible book called the Three Body Problem. And in the third book, I'm not going to give anything away, but all of this like archival art from like, this reminded me of what Creatress was talking about, from like famous galleries. They like took to this planet and like put in a bunker to essentially preserve forever, because all of it's fiction, but really great sci-fi fiction, but all of the other planets are just kind of getting destroyed, and there's all these things going on. It's like, so that's why, Empress, I love that you said, but there are people who do want to actually like do good, and there are, so it's so hard to lose focus of that. But it was like in this book, there are people that want to like preserve like humanity, and I think it's so nice to like be reminded of that, because it's so easy to become dystopian otherwise.
Yeah, and I think a big thing is I wouldn't even feel comfortable sitting here talking about this. Like I have lived this my whole life, and I've not talked about it many times. Because I don't feel comfortable and safe. But at this point in time, I'm in a public live stream talking about this very loudly and directly. And the reason I feel comfortable doing that is because I know there are people who have my back in it, and there are people who are working towards it. And that makes me feel more confident personally to be able to speak on it. And because I can then champion it, knowing that I'm not just going to be knocked back down immediately again. Am I going to be knocked down again? Definitely. That's a reality. But in the immediate, it doesn't mean like I feel comfortable enough to be able to do that. And I think that's a testament to like you, like Brett as a person, also Gamma, also like the people that I'm working with in general, which is like Zora, base, ETH people, devs, like also like AI people, lawyers, movie people, degens. Like, the list goes on and on. Like there is people in every community that get this. It's just whether or not they can be fully vocal about it. That's one thing. And then also like, it's just like, for me, it's just a matter of like, stop making it harder for me. like the tech issues I was having just to come into this, it feels like such a reflection of it. It's just like it wasn't recognizing my mic and camera even though nothing else was like using it, and then the power goes out in my apartment, and then it's like I can't download the app, and it's like that is how it feels for me every day, sometimes just trying to do a simple thing like pay a bill. And then it's like 100 things in the way. And I know not everything is related. I'm not saying I'm going around being like, oh, you hate women to every little infringement on my life. Like, I'm not saying that. But just as an example of like, that is how it feels sometimes as a woman navigating these spaces. It's like those days when nothing is working. That is what it feels like as a woman most days. And it's like that we're screaming and fighting and pushing. And then the days that we do feel supported and like, heard, we cherish those because they're rare diamonds in the scheme of like, for me, it's a rare diamond up until this point in the scheme of like life. So, but yeah, but also I'm a woman who's been able to get my art education from a public institution. And I don't deny that fact that that is a radical thing in and of itself. Like that's a big deal in and of itself. I think people take education too lightly and take like they just like dismiss it like because everyone could go to college for a while there and people forgot that not everyone could go to college for a long time and actually learn things. And that's another reason I love crypto, and that's another reason I love base particularly. Not, I know this is a Bitcoin space. Bitcoin has a lot of great documentation, but it's a little bit heady and more technically like chunky. But
100%,
base has all this documentation on how to build on the blockchain that's more light and like more for like beginners. And like those two combined like are like all that documentation anyone can access. Any little person, any little girl can log on as long as they have access to the internet. They can go on and be like, I want to be a blockchain dev, and they can learn how to do it without someone telling them they can or can't. And that is beautiful. And that is one of the reasons I like stand for crypto so much, because freedom to transact to me means freedom for women to transact, particularly because we're the longest group to not have that freedom out of any group in the world. And I'm just reinforcing that point again. And to me, Bitcoin, if it's designed for anyone, it's designed for women. Like that is my perspective. And crypto in general. And that's why I wish there was more women in crypto. But then like the culture generally has been hostile to it, to us. That's getting better. But it's like I really do wish more women would just like it's not even that you have to be a heavy user, but just doing stuff in it. That in and of itself is a radical act. Like a hugely radical act. And a beautiful act, I think. And like that's why I started an e-commerce store, because and why I'm transacting every day. Like every day I transact. I make sure I transact something every day because I'm trying to exercise my freedom to transact. Because I'm not taking it for granted. Because I know at any point, like in history, like most of history, I'm standing as the glitch in history as the woman being able to transact freely. So that's a lot. And so I make sure to exercise that right every day. And then it's awesome that I actually, with crypto, get to exercise my First Amendment right of freedom of speech and my freedom to transact in one fell swoop. And that is a lot of empowerment. And like that is awesome. And that's why I'm here and I keep doing this, no matter how much bullshit gets thrown at me, because I care about bigger things than some of the petty shit that people are throwing at me. And like that, having something bigger than myself to work towards, that's how I keep sustaining. People are like, oh, how do you keep sustaining? And it's like, because I care about something outside myself. I care about other people not going through the same shit that I went through. That's fundamental. And I'm rambling and taking up so much space. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
You're not. You're not. And we're not gonna skip in.
No, I okay. I want to talk about what you just said, the distribution and the power to transact, because I think that was really important. I don't want to bypass that. I want to just drop a little fact in case anyone's listening and is like, oh, what is she talking about? Women can transact. They always have. No, actually, it wasn't until about the 1960s that women could open a bank account in the United States without having a male, whether it's their husband or their dad, like sign off. Okay, so that's okay, my math is really bad, but I think that's about 80 years, 1960s to now, 40, no, okay, like 6 years, even less.
Not even a century.
Not even a century. We couldn't even have a bank account. So 60 years ago, if Bitcoin existed 60 years ago, women would not, there'd be no way for them to just get a handle on it. I think, that makes me think maybe like there's a way, maybe someone will come up with some sort of grant or some kind of project that just is made to distribute Bitcoin to women that otherwise wouldn't have any. Okay. Because imagine, like, right now, it's like there's only so many Bitcoin. And I can assure you the majority of the holders are men. That's just facts, right? Just we know the majority of the people in crypto and Web3 are men. We went over this. So I just think if in our future, Bitcoin is going to be the currency of the future and the way that we transact globally, we need to make sure that there's like some sort of like equal something like distribution. Like what? Or are we just gonna keep repeating the same like financial like oppression on women with Bitcoin in the future? Like what? Whoa! Can we get a billionaire to care about this for a second, please?
I mean, we do have a few women billionaires. I do like women billionaires, even though I'm not a fan of billionaires.
But I like the women.
And Gaga should be one soon. If she is not one already, our dearest Lady Gaga shall be a billionaire soon. And that that will be a good day. If it hasn't happened already, I haven't stayed up on her net worth. I'm not like obsessive about it, but I feel like when someone like her becomes a billionaire, I think that's a big deal. I mean, it's a big deal for me. Because that shows an indication of change in a fundamental way. That someone like who represents what she represents to be able to be in that upper echelon of people with resources. But yeah, I agree. And like sometimes I fantasize that like that was Satoshi's plan all along. And that's why all that Bitcoin is in Satoshi's wallets. At some point, it's just gonna distro to like all the pores on Bitcoin. Like that's what I like imagine sometimes. I know that again, I dream big.
I have a shirt. Oh, sorry. I was gonna say I have a shirt that says Satoshi is female. Just had to say it.
Yeah, Superama made a piece. Superama inscribed a piece called Satoshi is female. Do you know Superama? I think she might even be based in Mexico. Is that right?
I think she's Mexican, but she's not based here.
Oh, okay, my bad. Yeah, sorry, of Mexican descent. Sorry, yeah.
Yeah, we'll claim her. We claim her.
Yeah.
Just like the Mexicans claim me, even though I'm a what is it? Gringa.
See. No, you're part of the fam now.
Do you know, Empress, do you know, it's funny that you said that last comment because I was listening to a podcast the other day with Adam Back, who was one of the, he was the person who received the first email from Satoshi and has been suspected of being Satoshi, or at least knowing who Satoshi is, one of the earliest cypherpunks on that early cypherpunk list, blah, blah, blah. But he said they were just sort of like talking about bits and pieces in there that it came up that, perhaps one day when like Bitcoin's worth a certain amount and then like there are a whole bunch of people that know the keys, it's going to be used to hopefully like, solve world hunger or do something like that. Yeah. So you never know, like it's a beautiful thing to think. But
I think it's a beautiful thing to dream about, that wallet is there for good reasons, because some people look at it and they're like, oh, they could dump at any point and tank the market. And it's like, well, what if that's not the point? Like, why build something to just like, I mean, it is a fail safe. Like technically I think that wallet could fuck up a lot of stuff, but really like as a creator, like your ultimate goal is not to destroy your creation. You will destroy your creation if it becomes a monster. I'm really excited for the Frankenstein movie coming out. And also that whole concept is from a fucking woman. Like we wouldn't have Frankenstein if it wasn't for women being tired of men's shit. Like that is
fair
really
enough.
That is what happened. Anyway, like,
but you know,
but,
yeah, go. No, I was just gonna say on both your points, sorry about that, was that, without going into too much detail, I don't need to like name the culture or the country, but there are certain countries obviously where there is like serious oppression of women's financial rights in comparison to other countries. It's just a fact. And I've read interesting stories about how Bitcoin has been a way that someone's been able to essentially like accrue wealth and then get out of there and be able to leave with some wealth, because you can't go and get the money out of the bank. They won't allow that. Whereas no one can stop you from traveling with your Bitcoin. You can travel and own a lot of Bitcoin, and no one needs to know it. So that's fascinating to me and very powerful as well. And it would be the same thing with art. You can travel and own art on Bitcoin. And of course, this, like you said, it's a Bitcoin kind of focused live stream, but and for exactly like you said, we've talked about, and I completely agree that all blockchains are relevant and a playground, and you can put mint everywhere and do everything. But I mean, in this specific instance, it's a way for perhaps someone to create and inscribe on Bitcoin and then be able to kind of like go flee if they have to. Hopefully they're not in a place where they have to flee, because it was, but we can't pretend that doesn't happen in the world, and they can take their art with them. Whereas if you paint physically, which is great, and I love physical art, but it'll be a lot harder to leave with all of your art. So that's another really like kind of fascinating part of it.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I've left a lot of art behind in the world, or it's been destroyed, and for various reasons. And like I have a lot of like, what's interesting though is I think I have pictures of like everything though, because I am like meticulous in documenting my art. And so an interesting part of that, getting into AI and empowerment of women through AI, like I'm now going to train models on art that doesn't exist anymore that I created. And that's fucking sexy. Like, no matter how you break it down. So it's work that got erased already, either through my hand or things out of my control. And I'm able to bring it back to life in a Frankenstein way with AI. And I think that's beautiful. And what I'm actually going to do as the next step of it is train Allura. Like, so I'm going to train Allura on my individual paintings that don't exist anymore. And I'm also going to train Allura on my nude body. And then so I'm going to mix them together and create nude paintings with both, like from my body, from my paintings. And it's like all of that is to me an amazing use case of this tech that like a lot of times is skewed to like not help us through just different biases. And all that's through open source software. So open source is another point of like, any open source literally means anyone with a computer can log in and use it, as long as you have the right type of system to be able to run it. Now, like the accessibility starts coming into play with like, especially running locally sourced AI, like having that hardware isn't always accessible, but it's still theoretically possible to like build yourself to that point. And like all of that too, I can take those models, I can put them on the blockchain. I can put the LoRa's right on the blockchain. And then anyone can create from my paintings in perpetuity, as long as that type of AI system, like people know, like can use that type of AI system and access that file data. And then they can generate images. And then I can go even, so like with titles, like I can train models right in there, and I can mint the data right on the blockchain and then train models off of the images. So it's like there's another layer of censorship and resistance. So it's like the images I'm using to train the model are then like translated to the model, and anyone can create work from that and mint it. And it's like on both ends, it's like it's being preserved on the blockchain. So it's like there's so many like novel and beyond novel ways that like all of this tech can be used to help women, and like for like artists like me who are exploring like all the physical with the digital and like all the intersecting parts. It's like it really, at the end of the day, even with all the bullshit, it's a tool of empowerment. And it's like, as long like I like find for myself, as long as I keep my head down and keep working and don't listen to the noise and just keep focusing, it's like the more maybe things get better for me is the way to like say that. I don't know if Creatress feels the same way.
I feel like I'm trying to find a balance between just focusing on my art and focusing on what I'm doing, and then caring about what's happening outside of me in the art world and in Mexico as a country and the US, because that's, another country I'm, very much part of. And then just like the world and the fact that there's only so much you can do. And it's, Empress, I feel like you're a pretty empathetic person and like you're pretty sensitive, even though some people might not think so, but like, and I am too. And I don't always express myself in that way. But hearing that, for example, today I spoke to an artist living in Moscow, a woman artist in the space, and she was telling us that she can't actually transfer her crypto into her bank account without the worry that her bank account will just get completely blocked. So that bothers me. I spoke to another woman today, also an artist in the space, and she's in Iran, and you can't even have art that shows your hair or a woman's hair displayed anywhere or sold, and if it is, you're dealing with fines or some sort of repercussions. And so that's why I say, like, for me, it's a balance. It's the constant balance of worrying about myself, focusing on what I'm doing, trying to just make a living as an artist. Something that Empress also mentioned earlier is like a lot of people will look at her and say, "Oh, you've been exhibited in so many places and you've gotten so many opportunities, and you're by all means like a very visible and successful artist." But that doesn't mean that we're just like that you're coasting and everything's fine and like you have like your lifestyle completely under control and are able to make a living off your art. And the fact that we're in that situation is, we're really visible, both Empress and I, right? So you would think by our visibility, we're doing amazing, right? But even us, we're still grinding every day. We're still working and putting out content and art every day. So we have it pretty good, right? Even though maybe we don't have everything sorted out and, we're not financially set for life yet, we're in a good place. And especially when I compare to like the women I just talked to today, I'm like, the playing field isn't even close. Like it's not even close right now. And it's just, like I said, it's disheartening. And that's why the balance, it's all about the balance. Like sometimes I can think about that and I can try to speak up for that. But sometimes I really just have to focus on what I'm doing, because you do get bullied and you do get trolled and you do get censored just for speaking up for others. Not even if you're speaking up for yourself. Like it's a real thing. And it's just like, I'm just trying to make it out here. I'm just trying to just live and be able to pay my rent and this and this and that in this field. And then I'm also advocating for others. But every time I advocate for others, I get punched in the gut. Like I get, so it's tough being a sensitive and empathetic person and artist, I'd say. But I don't think we know any other way to move, honestly.
Well, I also am a little bit of a masochist, so that helps. That helps with things. It's like, sure, keep hurting me, please. Like, not to get weird, but it's like that's
oh god.
But I think there is like people, like women who do what we do. I do think there is like a slight level of that. And sorry I missed everything that she said. Like, speaking of Freedom of Transact, it's like I got a delivery of toys for my dog's new toys, so I had
which
to
is
dip out
very
a second.
which is very important.
Yes.
Well, look, I think that this has been an absolutely, like, I've learned heaps myself, as I'm so thank you so much for coming and talking on it, and I'm sure everyone who tuned in learned as much as I did, and for those who watch this after it's published. But a really big thank you, Empress and Creatress, just for being who you are and speaking so well on this topic and joining me today, and for creating your art all that you do. So, you know, and really appreciate the time as well that you know, to join me and join us for this live stream today as well.
Yeah, super thank you. And I just want to like follow up on the point of what Creatress is saying is like how women artists, essentially women artists are undervalued in general. That to me, like it's like you should be buying our shit because since we're so
Go
undervalued
and buy it today.
since we're so undervalued, like if you believe in a future where women are like considered equal, that means our work is going to be worth like bonkers in the future. Not like I don't know who, but in general, women artists creating on the blockchain at this moment in time, I think are, as long as we don't descend into like really shitty shit again, like I think we're gonna stand out in history more so than other things going on at the moment, I think. Just because like we hold on, I'll open it for you. They really want me to open, they know it's toys and they're trying to open the bag. I'm just gonna let them do it for a while. It's really
So
cute though. It is. Like it's super cute. The but I think like as long as we don't descend into shitty shit and it's like we keep going on a general trajectory of a more equal, equitable, free, fair society for everyone. It's just to me it's a no brainer. Like the women who are here either as art, like specifically as artists, of course, I think we're the ones putting ourselves at the most risk, but also women who are doing crypto finance and talking about that, they put themselves at risk. I've seen some of the threats women get, and it's absolutely abhorrent. Like I'm not going to say it right now because I don't want to. I don't want to broadcast out there, and I don't want to trigger it. But I see the shit that goes on in DMs. People send me stuff. Like I'm someone that people come to talk to about that shit because I'm an empathetic voice that has gone through it and can process the shit that they're seeing. And like it's disgusting. It's like our like I can understand if someone does something bad to you being angry at them, but like not death threats. And then also really not just like a person existing trying to run a business, trying to transact, trying to be a merchant, trying to teach others about crypto, to pump your bags, by the way, like of all the coins that you fucking hold too. Like it's like why what's the point, what's the like what's the end result of that? What are you going to gain from that besides you're cementing yourself as an antagonistic shithead on the internet while making us like have to work even harder to make sure any of this works at the end of the day. So I don't know. I just buy women's art, like, and buy it for double, triple what it's being listed as, because in my opinion, like it's gonna be worth a lot someday. And like in at least historical value. Like at least. Because that was what I was gonna say before the dogs interrupt. Because like last century, it's like we had Frida and we had Georgia O'Keeffe and we had, I can't remember the Dadaist's name because it's a longer name and I always forget it. It's like a longer French name. But it's like we had those women early in the century advocating for things. And I view women crypto artists now, like we're in that same caliber. Like all of us collectively. I don't necessarily think one of us I would also like to see it's like it's not just one ego that gets paraded through history. It's like I think it would be beautiful if like it's just like in history books it talks about the whole chapter on women in Bitcoin art in the 2020s. You know what I mean? Like I can see that clearly, but like maybe not other people can. But that's what I'm working towards. Is having that chapter in the history book, not just for me, but for like all women, all artists on Bitcoin, really, but specifically women. yeah.
I love it. I love it. There's so many good points, Empress. I don't even. I will just say equality for all. And I definitely want to see a book titled Women on Bitcoin in the 2020s. So if anyone wants to sponsor a book, let me know and I'll write it. And the other thing I will say is I think Empress and Creatress and a few other of our friends will definitely go down in history. And I'll definitely do my part to make sure that happens. So go get you some art. Yes, go get you some Empress art and some Creatress
and
art.
Creatress art.
Because
And
you'll be happy.
all the other, there's what, Michelle Thompson, there's
Kaylee Van Fossen.
Yeah,
yeah,
Kaylee, there's Rita,
Kaylee.
there's Zoe, there's so many, there's Witters,
Claire,
the list
Claire
goes on.
Von,
Yeah.
the drawer Claire
Von Savage, yeah.
yeah, like
Sarai,
I mean, but the reason women are attracted to putting
Rocket
art
Girl.
on
There's so many.
Bitcoin is because of everything that we just talked about. For
Yep.
people who don't understand our motivations, I think, like, not saying everyone is completely, like, every woman is completely in line with my motivations, but in general, like what we talked about, I think most women share some of the sentiments, whether they say it or not. And I think it's something good for people to think about and chew on. You can even ask Grok. Grok is really good at feminist history, actually. Like, if you ask Grok, you can even ask Grok about the art that you see on the timeline and help a man, and it can help you analyze it and give you if you can ask for context, you can ask for, and Grok, I've like tested and worked with Grok on this, and it's fantastic. So there's absolutely no excuse for the ignorance that is going on anymore. That is all I have to say.
It's a perfect place.
Love
to
you
leave
all.
it. Thank you so much, both of you.
Love you. Thank you for having me.
Peace.